Good Monday, everybody. At least for most of you, I hope, because there are some pretty terrible stories in the news that we're going to cover today. But I hope your Monday is going great. My Monday so far has been okay, I guess. And to share the Monday with me, I guess, is as usual, TJ. What's up, TJ?
What is happening?
A lot of things. A lot of things are happening. So many things are happening every
Yeah,
day. Too much
busy
news.
weekend. Mondays are always crazy just because we have the whole weekend worth of stuff to go through. But
And then Friday dies.
yeah,
So
so
but
pretty
yeah, we have a ton of stuff to go over today, and then I have to fix my tags because I'm running late today. So I apologize for that, guys.
I'm running a bit late today too. Like I'm telling you, if you ever have the opportunity to work graveyard, don't.
Don't. That's
Yeah.
that's what I hear from everyone that does it, because you don't have a life outside of work, because it's like, what are you gonna go do?
Well,
you
I
know?
mean, like now that it's my weekend, like I'm trying to like dial back my sleep schedule by a couple hours each night. But uh, by the time I get to my what would be my Sunday, well then I got to stay up super late again so that I can sleep in and go to work and be alert on my Monday. So I don't know, it's taking its toll, but the money's good, so we're
Right.
out.
Um. Okay. I almost have my tags together. I'm trying to get the, it matters a lot, especially on YouTube, the tags for your videos. For me, I
Gotcha.
just hung out with friends and family over the weekend. Um, my friends want to go fishing tomorrow, but I'm trying to debate whether or not I want to, because if I do that, then I'm gonna miss the show again tomorrow, and I missed a lot last week, and I don't want to do that again this week.
That's tough. It's stuff that like you feel like you kind of like have a responsibility to the stream, but then there's also like real life activities that you could be doing and like trying to balance work life balance.
Yeah, well, because I am trying to do this as like a job, if I can, that'd be
Right.
great. Rumble's already paying me a little bit.
From what I've
Fucker.
heard, it's like consistency is the most important thing. So like taking those days
Consistency is
off.
incredibly important.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get the tags
Well,
for
here I am
that.
trying to patter in the meantime.
I had this. I have this funny story that we're gonna pull up about Trump here in a second. Uh, do you know Trump signed a new deal recently?
I would it would be a safe assumption, but I might not.
Like a personal business deal, though, while he's president.
Okay, interesting.
What do you think this business deal is? Because I am stalling, to be fair, because I'm still getting stuff ready.
Yeah, well,
But what do you
it's
think?
not
What do you think it is?
it's not the cell phone thing, right? Because the cell phone was his son's. Or are you
No,
talking?
the cell phone thing is his,
Oh, is it? Okay, is that what you're
because it's
talking
the Trump
about?
it's the Trump family name. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah,
So here I'm gonna bring up the story. Let me just get the tags on Rumble. I have them for YouTube. But no, I have the story from, what is it, CNBC. And what's funny about it is he was tweeting about AT&T. I guess he had a meeting with world leaders, and they were using AT&T, and it crapped out on him, and he wasn't having it. He was going off on him on Truth Social over the weekend. So here, okay, there we go. I have all the tags and I have the chats. There we go. Good enough.
ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. As good as I can, anyway.
Cool.
Okay. Oh wait. Oh no, we're doing the old setup. I have to go over here and screen share. Oh no.
Tyler, all
Sadness.
upside down.
Sadness.
Yeah,
No, it's just
OBS was giving us the business this morning, so we're
the
back to
OBS did give me the business, guys. I'm sorry. Well, Vid Ninja did, and that's how I have TJ here. So anyway, but Trump rips AT&T service weeks after Trump mobile licensing deal announced. So is it his deal or is it his son's deal?
So I think that his sons are like running the business. I would assume that he's more of just like a figurehead marketing sort of aspect to it. Like because he can't be running like businesses, right? Like
Well, because it's not they're not running a business though. It's a licensing deal for the name. So President Trump criticized AT&T in a on his, okay. Well, CNBC's biased, obviously, in his but anyway, so he criticized AT&T in a consecutive Truth Social post on Monday, writing that the country's third largest wireless carrier ought to get its act together. The president said he was trying to hold a conference call with faith leaders, but that AT&T is totally unable to make their equipment work properly. If the boss at AT&T, whoever that may be, can get involved, it would be good. He wrote, the chairman and CEO at AT&T is. So I thought this guy's name was funny. It's John Stan Key, but depending on how you read that, you can read that
Stanky.
in not a yeah, you can
John
read that in
Stanky.
an unfavorable way. So John Stanky, um, uh, AT&T obviously doesn't know what they're doing. Trump wrote in a second post minutes later. I love reading Donald Trump's Truth Social. I mean, I could literally just pull up his Truth Social as news because it basically is news at this point. Him being president.
Yep.
But if I continue with the story, so he said we may have to reschedule the call, but we'll use another carrier the next time. The carrier responded, or sorry, the company responded to the White House via social media, and they basically said they're trying to reach out. But Trump's back-to-back posts were just weeks after the Trump organization announced it had licensed the Trump name to a new wireless phone service, Trump Mobile, that also sells a $499 smartphone. The T1 mobile service will operate all over or over all three major wireless carriers, according to the company's website. The terms of the financial agreement or arrangement between the president's family business and the wireless service that licensed his name have not been made public. But the White House did not immediately reply to a request comment from CNBC Monday. Um, let's see. And CNBC says Trump Mobile is the latest instance of the Trump organization and the president's family using his political brand to promote new commercial venues while he's in office. So that last line is why one of the main reasons I want to bring up the story, because it is an interesting story. He is criticizing one of the major carriers while he's also trying to sign phone deals. But if they're having issues while they're trying to have meetings with world leaders, then yeah, he should definitely take issue with that.
Well, what's funny to me is that he's like insulting AT&T, but the Trump phone is going to be using the they're basically piggybacking off of the other mobile carriers.
Yeah, they're gonna piggyback off what is it? AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon.
Yeah, and so the Trump phone is still going to be using AT&T service. So like if
Maybe that's why he's criticizing him. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna have a phone deal with you. Like, get your ish together."
yeah,
Uh,
I could also see it like I'd expect him to kind of try and take jabs at the competition. That's a very Trump thing to do. And
but either way, how do you feel about him making business deals? Like, if he is involved in this deal, how do you feel about him being president making business deals? Because I feel like that's a what is it? There's an imbalance of power there.
well, yeah. So I think so. Don Jr. I think was on Benny a couple days ago, and he was talking about like I don't know. I felt like he was coming out speaking as like the company owner kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like Donald isn't the only Trump, and so Trump Mobile, it's the last name, and so it's not like Donald has to be like actually involved. Maybe he'll cut a commercial or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he has everything set up so that the family is taking care of all of his business ventures.
That's fair. But so, how would you feel if he is involved though? Like, would you feel like that he shouldn't be?
Um,
Because
I
I
mean,
personally feel like he should. If I wouldn't want him involved. If it's his family or his kids, sure, whatever. I mean, you can't, just because their dad's president, you can't tell them they can't do business.
right. So morally,
Same thing with Hunter Biden. It just depends on how they do it. The reason people get upset with the stuff in Ukraine, to not be hypocritical, right, is because he was using his his father's position as vice president to leverage power over there, and to leverage like he had no business being in that position over there in Ukraine. And then the things with the prosecutor, all that's separate. If stuff like that was happening, that's different. Again, separate.
yeah. So from a moral sense, I really wouldn't care if he was, starting this company or whatever while in office. But I think legally they aren't actually allowed to. Like you have to divest your business interests or whatever when you become president or something like that. And so, like, I'm pretty sure Trump had to like give all of his real estate empire to his sons to manage and stuff like that while he's president because it's legally not allowed. And I think the difference between Hunter and the Trump family doing this is is that like the people who were hiring Hunter Biden were doing so that they could have, you know, influence over the actions of a president. I don't think that whoever is working with Don Jr. for this phone deal, I don't think that they are trying to, gain political sway in global politics over Donald.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix the chat so that it can be seen on screen. There we go.
Nice.
And then you can't see my follower goals right now, so I'm just gonna get rid of those. There we go. I moved you over to the side because I keep looking over this way at my monitor, so it looks like I'm looking away from you. It's better if you're just over there.
I like the idea. It's very cool.
Well, anyway, so as Shitty Gov brings up in the chat, we can move on to the next topic if you didn't have anything else to add. I just don't like the idea of him, having business ventures while he's president. But like you were saying, his family should be the ones taking care of it. Hopefully they are.
I think they are. So
they should be. They are.
unless evidence comes up otherwise, But of course, the media is going to try and create the narrative that this is Donald himself creating this company and breaking all these laws.
Well, yeah, that's why I said it's CNBC. They're a little bit biased. They'll try to obfuscate what's actually happening, but it's fine. That's why we're here to talk about it. Anyway, I want to bring up this story from Nick Sortor because Shitty Gov brought it up in the chat. Not the story directly, but he said, "I want COVID justice. Why no arrest from the COVID shenanigans?" So I actually have this clip from Nick Sortor. I forgot to check the audio on this one with my headphones. Crap. Because Nick Sortor has been pretty bad about that lately with audio.
Super loud?
No, low. Super low.
Gotcha. Well, I think that the using OBS and Ninja are something that keeps the volume low. I think through Rumble Studio volume.
No, because it's even low for me on my end directly. I'm right here.
All right, gotcha.
But anyway, so Nick Sartori, he shared this clip, and I found it to be interesting. He said, "Wow, RFK Jr. just said that he believes Fauci received a pardon because he was liable for creating the coronavirus. Fauci must be dragged to testify in front of Congress now. If he lies, arrest him on the spot. He should not be a free man." And then, so we're going to listen to this clip. But I just wanted to say that it is interesting that we see that RFK is, saying this because him being in the position he's in, he might have access to more information we do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's see the clip. Let me pop this up. Bam.
He got immunity. Why did he need immunity? Why did he need a pardon in advance?
What do you think the answer is?
I would be speculating, but I think he was vulnerable. I think he had a lot of liability on creating coronavirus. He was funding precisely that research at the Wuhan lab.
Yep.
And he was giving them the technology. He was giving them he gave them not only the technology, the precise technology for developing that pathogen. He got immunity. Why did he need immunity? Why?
Okay, so the clip reset after that, but I mean, there's tons of things that we can talk about in terms of Dr. Fauci. I think one of the worst things. Well, I mean, what's one of the worst things that comes to mind when you hear about Dr. Fauci? Because I've seen a few stories, and I there's one in particular I bring up because a lot of people don't hear about it. What's the most heinous Dr. Fauci story you have?
Well, I don't know. I've heard about like his response during AIDS and all that. I've heard about the dogs with like maggots crawling over their faces. And then is he the one? It was the Germans that were like freezing off people's limbs, right? Just to see what would happen. It wasn't him.
So, one of the stories I bring up, because everyone always brings up the Beagle story, which the Beagle one, don't get me wrong, it's probably because they're dogs. That's why everyone brings that one up. No one ever brings up the ones that with the monkeys, though. Do you know about the maximum pain experiments?
Possibly. What is it?
So under Dr. Fauci, under his direction, they ran these maximum pain experiments for monkeys. I hope they aren't still doing them, but the whole point was to see how much pain that they could put a creature through before it died.
Right.
And they would try various different techniques on these monkeys to torture them until they died.
Yeah, and that's evil.
Yeah, and I'm not going to describe some of the ways because looking into it, it was just absolutely disgusting. And if I'm not mistaken, the pardon not only covers the Beagle stuff, the COVID stuff. It's like the Hunter Biden pardon. It covers things from like the past 10 years. It's just blanket. It's fucking ridiculous.
Absolutely. Something about Nick Sotor's tweet there. He says drag him in to testify in front of Congress and arrest him on the spot if he lies for what? Lying to Congress, right? I think that would be, I don't know. Do we want to wait to see how all the AutoPen stuff plays out to see if his pardon is legitimate? Like, what happens if he gets dragged into Congress, can't plead the Fifth Amendment or however that works, and then it turns out so he's like forced to like testify or whatever, and then his pardon gets revoked. What happens to that information that he was forced to give? Does that make sense? Like,
I see the concern there, but I would say do it because like he currently is under the pardon, but if the pardon turns out to get revoked, I mean he's already given his testimony.
But can that information not be used against him because it was he was providing it while having immunity?
I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Right. I would worry. Like, I don't know. I want to see him get locked up, but I also would want to see him get locked up for the evil, the crimes.
Yeah, you don't want a Jeffrey Epstein situation where he has all these things that we know he did, but are covered under some bullshit part of the law.
Right. Yeah.
So
I say revoke the AutoPen, revoke the pardons, and then charge him for his actual crimes instead of just putting him in a position to lie to Congress and get a couple of years for contempt or something like that. That is insufficient for the level of crimes that he committed.
I mean, I think they're working on getting the AutoPen stuff overturned. Every time we see stuff in the news about it, it seems like they're kind of prepping us for that to happen.
Right. It's like, I don't know, almost manufactured consent. It's chumming the waters or whatever just to see if people will bite on it and if there's an appetite for it. So
yeah, well, because has that ever occurred? Has a presidential pardon ever been overturned?
I'm not sure. Are you going?
I'm gonna look that up.
Are you going to Grok right now?
No. I'm just looking it up. Because that would be interesting. Because maybe that's why they'd be prepping us for it. If it, I mean, it's never happened.
Wow. And if it ever did, there, the dictator chants, the no kings protests would go off in full force. But so I think you need to be very strategic about how and when you do it. Like, it almost seems like after the midterms kind of a thing, because that's going to ruffle some feathers. But I think there is a case for it.
Yeah. I don't know. I like you said, I want to see justice for the Fauci stuff, but I don't want to rush into it. I don't know. I feel like Nora's gonna clip this and be like, "Oh, but Epstein, but you want to rush into Epstein."
That's the thing about the Epstein files too, and I did say that I was giving him until 4th of July to start making some arrests, and we're getting pretty damn close. So I'm starting to lose faith there. But
did you see what they're doing with ICE and the big beautiful bill?
Well, just real quick, I'm just on the Epstein stuff. I would want to see arrests first and disclosures after, because if you disclose first, then all of these people have the ability to run away or something like that. And so I would trade disclosure for arrests so that people are actually held accountable. But we're not seeing either. So
yeah, I'm just worried we're gonna be sitting on our hands for too long, waiting for these people to take action, and then the 4 years of Trump will be up, and we'll be like, oh, nothing happened.
Yeah, no, I worry about that as well. But anyway,
But
what about ICE? What is
I was just gonna say, in the big beautiful bill, ICE actually, the big beautiful bill they're trying to get passed, in it, it would increase the budget for ICE by 365%, and it was something like 80 billion, I think.
Yeah, and that would almost be essential to carry out a larger scale operations. So
Well, because we've talked about that recently. A lot of the stuff we've seen, if we were to compile a lot of the stories we've talked about over the past month or two, a lot of them are leaning in the direction of they are prepping for mass deportation. A lot of us want to see it sooner.
I go back to the saying, 9 women can't make a baby in a month.
Yeah,
Things take time.
but it definitely looks like they're going in that direction with recent Supreme Court decisions with the injunctions that happened on Friday. That the Supreme Court ruled that they can no longer do those ridiculous nationwide injunctions.
Right.
And then we have this story with trying to raise the budget of ICE. We have the recent stories from LA where they're kind of testing the waters to see how people react with some of these larger operations.
Right.
And I don't know. I hope we start seeing mass deportations. Maybe they're waiting for next year to start doing them right before elections. That way they can help themselves in the election.
I mean, there's so many you need to start now. But are we going to talk about the Supreme Court rulings much today, or is that like tomorrow?
What's called? Do you want to talk about that today? I don't have any stories specifically pulled up about that.
The only thing,
there were two very big rulings last Friday.
Right. The only thing I really want to say about it is that, I feel like I've been saying for a while that like it's a good thing that these challenges are happening so that they can get run up to the Supreme Court so that we can get an official ruling on it. And so this is just the process playing out the way that it needs to play out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you know what I just said?
I did, and you are right. We did need some of this to happen, but I've been saying that before. A lot of the stuff that Trump's doing with his executive orders are exactly what you just said. He's kind of testing the waters, forcing the Supreme Court to take up, or just forcing the federal courts to take up his arguments, essentially, or his executive orders, his artificial laws. And he's forcing them to look at them and be like, hey, is this something we need to actually cement or not,
Yeah.
And I guess it did need to happen. It's just I don't like what if a Democrat gets in and starts doing that, TJ? Well, with executive orders, just starts issuing executive orders like I guess like Biden did, huh?
Yeah, right. I'm not. What did he say? I'm not changing law. I'm just removing bad policy or something like that, and then he sends our country into the shitter. But yeah, I just think that like I've been saying for a while that this administration has to do everything by the book. They have to be following law the entire way through. And so the fact that, all of these courts and stuff all of these challenges are out there, we knew they all were going to get challenged. And that's why it's important that they follow the law so that when it finally gets to the Supreme Court, there's a ruling that what he's doing is legal.
So here you go. Here's one of the stories about it, because there's also the one about the gender ideology stuff in school that we can cover if you want.
Well, did you see the press conference about it where Pam Bondi talks for a moment as well? One of the reporters asks a question about so the Supreme Court didn't rule on birthright citizenship itself. They just ruled on the nationwide injunctions. Were you wanting them to rule on it or whatever? And she was saying that in October, during the next session, is when she believes the Supreme Court is going to be ruling on birthright citizenship specifically. So
interesting. Okay. Well, hopefully we do get a direct ruling on that. Let's see what NPR says on it, though. Let's see. Fix my window. There we go. So the Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision along ideological lines on Friday, sided with the Trump administration's request to limit universal injunctions issued by federal courts. The opinion in the birthright citizenship case was highly anticipated. Get the fuck off my screen. At issue, how was the lower court should handle President Trump's executive order, which declared that the children of parents who entered the U.S. illegally on or on a temporary visa are not entitled to automatic citizenship. Well, they shouldn't be. I mean, we've talked about that, right? TJ, how do you feel about the birthright citizenship?
I feel like we talked about it quite some time ago, and my logic was like, if you were born, like if you're of a certain age, then you know, then you got it or whatever. If you're under a certain age and your parents are being deported or whatever, like you have to be of legal age to like be living on your own or something like that. Like I don't,
No,
I
no, no.
don't know.
What I'm saying is, should birthright citizenship, like, do you agree with Donald Trump's executive order on it? Because we've covered his executive order, or essentially, you need to have at least one parent that is already a citizen for you to get a citizenship here.
Yeah, I believe that's fair. I don't think that I don't
Because
think
that's essentially what this is going to be what's going to be ruled on is that what we need to go by, or is it you're born here regardless of your parents' citizenship status, you automatically get citizenship?
well,
Because that's
right.
currently what we have.
And right. And so if someone, like, let's say, has a work visa or something like that, and they have a child here, both parents are here on work visas or whatever, and they have a child here, that also doesn't that also wouldn't suffice for citizenship.
The order covers that. His executive order does cover that, and you are correct. You're absolutely correct. So if both parents are over here on a visa and they have a kid here, the kid has to go back with one of the parents.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
Yep. And so what's your stance on like kids that were born here 18 years ago and are now like living on their own or whatever, and their parents are still illegal?
Like, I think we just have to take the loss on that one. I don't think you can send I don't think you can send someone who's more than 5-6 years old back to a country that, or well, maybe 6, but there has to be a certain age where, like, no, they've been here long enough where, like, you can't just send them to another country.
How old does an American citizen have to be before they can legally leave their parents, like their parents' custody? Like
Shitty Gov said send them back.
Yeah, I think that anyone who's like 16 or 17 or whatever, like that's kind of it. Like if you are still a minor under the supervision of your parents, you need to stay with your parents, because if we don't, then that child is going straight into foster care.
And well, even besides that, like what if it's let's say your parents came here illegally, they somehow stayed under the radar, had you lived your entire life, you're in your mid-20s, and then all of a sudden you get picked up and they're like, oh, you've been here your entire life, you were born here, you're now 25, but you're illegal, we're going to deport you back to where we believe you came from.
Yeah, like, I don't home. Like, where's home?
Yeah, I mean? Like, home is here.
Yeah, like, home is
he's been here 25 years.
Yeah, home is either with your parents or the place that you came from, and like
that. And that's what I mean. Like, you just take the loss on that one. If you don't find them for that fucking long, I'm sorry. That's like squatters' rights at that point. in that sense, but that's only in cases of like they were born here or they were like super like 1-2 years old. But then that makes the case for it's a really hard discussion, because then that makes the case for people that come here and then they just have a kid here, and then but I don't the anchor baby stuff.
Unless we just like push our southern border down just a little bit and have like 50 miles cut across the top, and that's kind of like our no man's land where it's like technically Mexico or technically the US but still Mexico, and these people have to stay there. I don't know.
But you and I have already said previously that if there's a kid here with their parents and they're both the parents are illegal, and the kid, whatever age the kid is, they need to go back with their parents.
Right.
But in the cases where it's like they were born here and they've lived here their entire lives and they're now old enough to take care of themselves, yeah, send the parents back. But
dude, sick of shitty government is pissed about our take on it.
I can tell, but we're talking about a very specific issue. That's why I'm clarifying.
Like how many people are there in this country that would fall under the category that we're speaking of? Like how many
where they were born here and they
Right.
They were
So,
born here, technically not a citizen, and now they're old enough to take care of themselves. Like I wouldn't imagine that's a lot of people. I'm saying people like that. Yeah, I don't care. They've been here their entire lives. They're born here. But if their parents are illegal, yeah, send their parents back. But again, if they're not old enough to take care of themselves, send them back with their parents. I don't want the state to have them.
yeah.
So, but I think maybe that's why he's getting upset though, is because we've talked about this before. We're just leaving that part of the conversation out of it. I don't know. But the majority opinion written by Justice Amy Coney Barrett didn't rule on whether Trump's executive order violates the 14th Amendment or the Nationality Act. Instead, it focused on whether federal courts have the power to issue nationwide blocks. So yeah, it does clarify here, like you were saying, it's not a ruling on whether or not they believe birthright citizenship should be. They're not ruling one way or another on that. They're ruling that the federal courts don't get to have universal injunctions.
Right. Which I think is even more important than ruling on birthright citizenship right now, because every single action that Trump was taking was getting challenged.
You know? Absolutely, and we've talked about this on the Discord. Slick's gone over it as well while we're talking about it on the Discord. And these nationwide injunctions were already unconstitutional, so the Supreme Court absolutely needed to step in and be like, "Hey, guys, not cool. You can't do that." So absolutely very important, and I hope they do rule on birthright citizenship in the next session. I guess I was hoping for one sooner, but again, you get good things when you wait, I guess, right?
Yeah,
maybe, hopefully. I want to read some of Shitty Gov's chats because I don't want to think
he's going off, and like
I don't want him to think we're ignoring him. Why is it that this one crime that we are expected to have compassion about it? Well, so to clarify, Shitty Gov, I'm talking about it's the kids though. It's not the parents. The parents 100%. Always remove the parents if they're illegal, regardless of what's going on. Remove the parents always, regardless of the kid's age. Don't care. Remove the parents. Just to clarify. But if the kid is like just born here and they're now old enough to take care of themselves, they didn't commit any crime. Their parent did.
I mean, would city shitty government be okay if, our sort of argument stands, but we revoke the right to vote or something like that because they?
I mean, yeah. In situations like that, I think they should be forced to get their citizenship, and if they fail, then yeah, deport them. If it's found that they've been here since birth, but they're now old enough to take care of themselves, be like, all right, become a citizen, learn English. If you fail, give them a time period. If they fail, all right, you're going home wherever we sent your parents. Like I think that'd be fair. What do you think? You didn't say anything, TJ. What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because it is very difficult, and like
it is a hard thing to.
I'm trying to find balance in it because, like, if someone is an adult, like, and we're gonna send them home, like, where is home? Where your parents were from? Like,
so Shitty Gov said no. We give them an inch, they take a mile. Sorry, get out. Sucks that you got away with breaking the law for so long, but now you got to go.
I don't think.
I mean, yeah, I 100% agree, but
law.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Shitty Gov. But what we're saying is, what do you do in the situation where it's literally a kid that's been here their entire life? What if they didn't even know? Like, somehow they just don't know. For whatever reason. Because, like, places like California, you can get a fucking ID if you're not a citizen.
Well, that's another problem.
I mean, it is, but you can get a driver's license and not be a citizen here. So it's like, if you are born here, go your entire life, you're now an adult, you have a job, you're paying taxes, they pay taxes. I mean, like, they're a taxpayer, they've been here their entire life, they have a driver's license. I mean, they might as well be a fucking citizen. I mean, but if their parents aren't, then yeah, get out.
Yeah, Sick as Shitty Gov says, get your guys' reasoning, but they get deported also. And my question is, like, where do you deport them to?
And like, where's the line on that? Like, you would just, like, so if they're direct question for Shitty Gov. If they were born here, like I said earlier, born here, they go 25 years. They've been here for 25 years. They have a job. They're paying taxes, whatever. They have a driver's license. You would still deport that person even though they technically didn't commit a crime. Their parents did by bringing them here. If a kid's been here their whole life, I could see a case for fast tracking their citizenship if they are useful and law abiding. If not, get out, deported to families' origin and country. Okay, I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
That's completely fair as well.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying, though, is like if you force them to assimilate, you force them to get citizenship. If they fail, get out.
But how do you legally write into the law, like, if you're leeching off the system, then you are no longer, then, like, how is that the dividing line? Like, if you're 25 years old and you're leeching off the system, you're going to where your parents were from.
I think it should be the line that
and you're a hard worker, then you get to stay. Like,
I think it should be the line that we've been saying. I mean, there's a lot of
do you issue work visas to these people?
So there's a lot of we're talking about a future issue at this point, because a lot of the kids that have been here do have citizenship, technically, because of the way that we have been enforcing birthright citizenship. So technically, we're talking about a future issue, even. So,
well, once birthright citizenship is revoked,
gone, then we'll have this issue.
Well, I mean, is Trump's birthright citizenship argument? I could have swore I saw something that it's not going to be retroactive.
It's not retro. That's my point. So this is a future issue even that we're talking about. I'm realizing.
Yeah.
So because this is going to be a future issue where kids are going to be born here, but they're not citizens.
But yeah, I think that to compromise with sick of shitty government, if you and anyone who falls into this category, who is working, we issue a work visa, and that is their excuse to stay in the country. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And
yeah.
If you're not working or aren't eligible for a work visa, then they're also included in the deportation efforts.
Yeah, but I'm hopefully we get a ruling on birthright citizenship. I have a feeling they're going to rule not in our favor on that one. But we'll see.
I just think that it's so. I mean, even just now, like, we were diving into the different complexities and circumstances and everything. Like, you would really have to, like, just because there's so many different variations of how these people are operating within our country, that, like, to write it into law is difficult, I guess.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? I think my favorite thing about all the news from those recent Supreme Court rulings, though, was who was it? I think it was who was it? Amy Coney Barrett. It was one of the justices. They had a remark in rebuttal to what's her name? The one that couldn't answer what a woman is.
Jackson. Is it Ketanji?
Yeah, Ketanji Brown Jackson, whatever. So one of the justices in the rebuttal, though, was in the first line was like, "We will not dwell on her decision."
That's phenomenal. Like, I feel like they all just kind of took turns giving a slap down. And something that was asked, I can't remember what stream I was watching or whatever, but something that was asked is like, is it normal for there to be a dissent to the dissent? Like, because like it claimed like the primary dissent is this argument. And then we have her, who's just completely off the rails, and she's absolutely insane about it.
Can we impeach Supreme Court justices?
I don't know the process. I would think that that's the only way to.
Because like, I'm incredibly disappointed that she's young. She's very young. She's going to be in there forever.
It is crazy because like what happens when someone who, I mean, I guess this could be asked across the whole government, but like,
what happens when you get like Alzheimer's, like you literally just don't even know who you are?
The question is, what happens when someone who swore to uphold the Constitution and rule on behalf of the Constitution is actively arguing like against the Constitution?
Yeah, like, that too.
Like you are completely going against the one thing that you swore to protect, you know? I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, I want to jump to this next story that Libs at TikTok shared. It's a clip from CNN I found interesting. So Unreal, CNN is now promoting an app which tracks the movement of ICE agents to warn illegals. ICE agents face a 500% increase in assault and threats. CNN knows exactly what they're doing. This is a 1:39 clip, so we'll play this and react to it. I'll pause throughout it. But initial reaction is, I think whoever is involved with creating this app should be arrested. You should not be creating an app tracking any law enforcement.
Well, so like, I mean, even Google Maps, like people, or like Apple Maps or whatever, when you're doing the turn-by-turn navigation stuff, people, if they see a cop, they'll report that there's a speed trap there.
Yeah.
You know? And so I don't know if I necessarily fully agree that, like, you know, shouldn't be any law enforcement tracking or whatever, but this is being done specifically to interfere with ICE operations, and Tom Holman already said what's going to happen to people who interfere with ICE operations. So let's see how
okay, so yeah, let me clarify. There should not be any apps that can be directly used to put officers in harm's way. Marking speed traps and like like alcohol checkpoints and stuff like that. Like maps have done that for like since maps have existed on your phone and stuff.
Right.
That's very normal. And that doesn't cause issues for officers other than maybe they lose out on getting someone a ticket. But this directly puts people in harm's way, and this directly helps criminals evade the law. So this is absolutely different. And I mean, you can make the same argument for criminals evading the law. If I see that there's a speed trap coming, I'm definitely going to stop speeding. But I think a lot of speed laws are bullshit anyway. So
fair.
But that's my personal opinion. A lot of people think citizenship laws are bullshit, but they can go fuck themselves. So.
All right, let me see what's in the clip, because I haven't seen this yet.
I was gonna say, look, I know how to be the contrarian. Okay, I can make arguments against myself all day. Anyway,
the Trump administration steps up ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. It's called Ice Block, and it's controversial to say the least. Senator Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire?
Ice Block. I want to. You know what? Here, let's test it. Can I download this on my phone? Is it in the Google App Store? Let's see.
Check the Apple App Store. Oh, gotta love the dead air. It's good content, Tyler.
Good commentary. Love the commentary here. I don't see it on my phone. It must be like a website.
I have it on iOS.
You have it on Apple?
Yep.
Wow. It's the immigration app.
Yeah, it looks
like. Can you
hold
it up to the camera, sir?
Yeah, let me make sure.
Wait, here, let's get you full screen. Wow. That's crazy.
I mean, that looks like what they're talking about, right?
Well, double check it. Is it not a game?
No, I mean, it's got Google Maps on there. See something, tap something. Let me see what the description says. Yeah. Stay informed about reported ICE sightings within a 5-mile radius of your current location in real time while maintaining your privacy. Ice Block is a community-driven app that allows you to share and discover location-based reports without revealing any personal data. And then it's got, it goes on a little bit about like key features and how it works and whatnot. But
all right, well, let's see what CNN talks about it. Let's see how it works.
And what are the legal implications?
Crazy.
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of immigrations and customs enforcement officers. So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want. So you open the app, it looks like a map, and users can tap the map.
So this guy, the developer, directly said that he wants people to be able to avoid ICE.
Well, so there's kind of two ways that this app can be used. It can be used to stay away from the areas that that ICE is reported in,
or it could be used by protesters, rioters, or people that have other intentions,
nefarious, intentions. And so it's basically it's a doxing app, like we're going.
You're actively doxing ICE.
Yeah.
Enforcement.
and so I think that if it's going to be challenged, it
Well,
should be
so who does ICE affect, TJ?
uh, legal immigrants.
Like if I get stopped by ICE, who does it affect?
I mean, in your individual encounter, not you.
It wouldn't affect me other than, hey, let's see some ID or like, is there any way you could prove you're a citizen? Some papers, please. But that's not even what they're doing. They're getting tips, or they have people on record, because a lot of these people were released, and they have them on record, and they're just going to known locations where they are. So it's not even them going around to random people being like, hey, papers, please. It's literally like, here's our target. We have a picture of him. We know his name. Let's go find him. He's known to be in this area.
Right.
So but they make it out to be like stop and frisk, kind of like, hey, we're just going to pull you over randomly, which has happened a couple times in like false reportings. We talked about one recently where that American who was a gardener, but he was Hispanic, had his tire slashed. And the reasoning was they thought he was a flight risk, or like, he was going to flee. But he was a citizen, and they pulled him over and slashed his tires. And like stories like that are absolutely terrible. But when you start asking for mass deportations like we are, you're going to start getting stories like that. And it's an unfortunate outcome that has to happen in order for us to achieve the goal.
Right. And the question is, like, how else, like, what is the other method? Like, I feel like they're trying all of the, I don't know, we'll say like peaceful methods, the self-deportations, trying to focus on criminals itself. Like, they're trying all of these different options to avoid having to, I don't know.
Well, and so my
it doesn't look good. I'll admit it. Like, it needs to happen, but it's not going to look good.
And I spoke with a family member recently. He was talking about how he thought the deportations were just going to target criminals, and I was like, no, I don't understand where this misconception was with people that voted for Trump, that it was never just the criminals. He said that they would be a focus, but if they could get you, they're going to get you, because we've had so many catch and releases over the years. We have their names, we have their locations. Like, you can go and pick them up. They may not be criminals, they may be working, but they need to go.
Yeah, it's so crazy that it's so easy to let everybody in and so difficult to get everybody out.
Because you have, but the point me bringing that up, that up is, and I'm sure you've seen it, is there's people on the right even that are saying like, hey, some of these deportations are going a little too far. And it's like, no, they're not going far enough. This is what we voted for. This is exactly what we wanted.
Right. No, there needs to be a whole hell of a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see the rest of this clip. So what does it say here?
There's going to be a sob story for every single deportation. And that's what's difficult.
Well, that's what they're going to try. And we'll likely see more protests and riots over it.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Users can submit ICE sightings, alert users to ICE sightings within 5 miles, and it's free and anonymous.
It says that, but like,
you probably have to sign in with Google or something.
Well, I mean, they'll have your IP address and
they'll have your location.
Yeah. So like,
that's the other funny thing too, right? Is like people probably don't think about. It's like, hey, the app's going to know your location, so you can go and mark the location of law enforcement, just right. So you know.
I feel like if this app was...
What if it's Uno reverse and it's actually the deep state getting illegals to download a location tracker?
Yeah. And
40 chess.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was going to get at, is that if this app is deemed to be like illegal or something, like, and the servers are seized, like, there is quite a bit of information that they will have on all the people using these apps. Like, those databases exist. I don't see how you can say sorry. I don't see how you can say that it's anonymous when, data is tracked all over the place.
It's technically anonymous.
It's anonymous for now.
So let's see the rest of this clip. We're about halfway through.
to report an ICE sighting in their area. And then everybody who uses the platform within 5 miles of that sighting will get a push alert. This is a free iPhone app. It is anonymous. Aaron says he doesn't collect any user data. And what I think is really interesting about this in this moment is we've seen so many of the biggest leaders in tech supporting President Trump. But Aaron is sort of an example of the fact that there are people within the tech industry who are really resistant to Trump's policies. I asked him what he would say to those tech leaders who, for example, were at the inauguration. Here's what he told me. Take a listen.
Okay, so before he says anything there,
you want to know the way to combat this? I'm sorry, I have to interject.
Yeah, go ahead.
The way to combat this is to have everyone who supports ICE to download the app and just start spamming just whenever you're bored, just pop open the app and start spamming that, hey, ICE here, because you're going to have so many false positives that nobody is going to know where they're actually at. And so this could be it's
actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's the only way to really combat it is just to flood it with bad information.
So yeah, I don't have it on Android, but if you guys have iPhone and you want to, screw with some leftists and some illegals, download this app, and if you're just cruising around in the passenger seat, just start doing some false reportings.
Yep, I'm probably gonna try and call into Timcast to try and make that recommendation.
Dude, you should do that tonight. Be like, we'll workshop a question, but you should ask him something like, do you feel as though there should be, legal repercussions for an app like this?
If it's doxing and whatnot. So
if this is doxing, and we can workshop it. But no, this would actually be an excellent question, because it's very topical as well. Because the whole reason I brought this up, other than it being a crazy app, we have that other story in Idaho that we'll be bringing up. You should not be marking the location of emergency services when you have fucking lunatics out there that will go do crazy shit.
Yeah.
But let's finish this clip so we can move on to that story.
Yep.
I understand that you have shareholders to report to. I understand that you have employees that need their paychecks. But at what point do you say enough is enough?
And John,
Okay, so that's there's no way that was the whole clip with him. They had to have talked more than that. That's ridiculous.
I'd like to see that interview, to watch it in full context.
I want to see that full. So it was, what was his name? Joshua Aaron?
I didn't catch it, but sure.
It said it right here. Hang on. Go back a little further. Yeah, Joshua Aaron. So Joshua Aaron, creator of the IceBlock app. So this is the creator of the IceBlock app. No, I personally believe... I personally believe you're right. This is actively doxing law enforcement, and you're aiding and abetting the evasion of criminals.
Yeah, but I just want to know why he looks like a Temu Joey Cannoli.
Oh my God, Joey, dude, what the fuck? Are you just gonna let your cousin go around making IceBlock apps? You're supposed to help us with the deportation, dude. Here's your fucking evil twin over here, dude. He's working for the enemy team. What the fuck? Why the fuck Nibba's not liking the stream? Exactly. You know why they're not liking the stream? Because you have your cousin out here with the IceBlock app,
Docs and
screwing up with our you're screwing with our mass deportations, bro. I never wore glasses that goofy. That's why he's your evil twin, brother.
Dude, this is like a Superman Clark Kent sort of thing. I'm pretty sure that is Joey Cannoli.
Dude, this is Joey's evil twin. I'm telling you.
No, we just can't tell that it is Joey because he's wearing glasses.
No, I'm telling you. Look, this is Joey's evil twin. The same facial structure almost, except this guy's wearing glasses. He has his hair back. Joey never puts his hair back. Joey's really great with music. I doubt this guy's creative, other than the coding and stuff. So Joey can make music. This guy can make apps. He's the fucking evil twin. I'm telling you.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. He does look like my cousin that died 2 years ago. That jawline. Look, he didn't die. He faked that shit, brother. They took him past the ice wall. They brought him back. And here he is. He's with the IceBlock app now, man.
Underground to become a...
Joey said ironic because my hair is back today. Well, fuck.
Love it. Dude, you got to find some glasses and start your stream looking like this guy.
He said too skinny to be my cousin, though. But anyway, so yeah, no, like the stream, guys. Support the stream. I appreciate all you guys tuning in today. We still got more stories to talk about, and story's still going. We have this absolute crazy story from Idaho that I want to talk about, and it's in relation to this story because you should not be making fucking apps marking emergency services when we have stories like this from Idaho. Do you have anything to say about this before we move on to the Idaho story?
Nope, I'm sure it'll develop, and we'll talk more about it soon.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we can relate the two. So the reason you don't make apps like this is because you have stories like this from the Associated Press. A man lured Idaho firefighters to a mountain with a fire, then shot and killed 2 of them. And that's not including, I believe, the 13 others that were injured. Bless you, TJ. Wait. Good? Okay.
Dude, it's weird. I always sneeze in 2s, and that was only 1, so I'm expecting another. All right, so I used to do wildland firefighting, and so this really strikes a nerve with me. Like, I don't know, these guys are out there, like, literally putting their lives on the line. Like, you know, every few years you hear about firefighters who get in a burnout situation where they have to deploy their fire shelters, and you know it doesn't work, and you know it is an incredibly demanding and difficult and dangerous job, and to call them to lure them in with a fire and just mercilessly murder these people.
It was sniper fire. All the reporting that I've seen, they have not released the type of weapon that was used, but every single reporting I've seen from multiple sources have referred to it as sniper fire. So this guy had posted up, started a fire, waited for police to come, or waited for emergency services to come, and then opened fire.
It's absolutely insane and absolutely deranged. I don't know. I feel like we need to learn more about this person and their motives, because I don't know.
Well, the most recent update we have is from Fox News, at least from what I've saw. Maybe there's another update because it was from 4 hours ago. They have identified the shooter, so we'll go over that. But no reasoning has been listed yet, and it still isn't clear if he was killed by law enforcement or if he ended his own life. But the shooter is no longer alive. Either way, right. So. Let's go into the story. And before we go into the story, again, this is exactly why stories like this are exactly why I am frustrated with that ice block app, because you have crazy people. I mean, firefighters. This isn't even like actual law enforcement. This isn't police. There's been a lot of political tension with police and law enforcement. Why target firefighters? But so even besides that, targeting anyone, luring them in any ways is heinous, especially law enforcement when they're there to literally put out fires, protect communities, save people's lives. It's some of the worst people you can target, that's why you shouldn't. That's why that guy shouldn't have that app. That you shouldn't give crazy people similar to this guy access to the location of people they would want to target.
Absolutely.
So in Boise, Idaho, Boise, Idaho, as a wildfire began to sow panic in a small northern Idaho mountain community, a group of firefighters who rushed to put out the blaze instead of found themselves in an unexpected shootout. A man who has intentionally set the fire to ambush the crew on Sunday was perched in a sniper position, firing at the firefighters. Wow. They took cover behind fire trucks, but 2 died and the 3rd was wounded during a barrage of gunfire over several hours. I hate when they say several because I think of 7. They mean 3. I hate that word so much. First responders made urgent calls for help on their radios at Canfield Mountain, just north of Coeur d'Alene. Everybody shot up here. Send law enforcement now. According to dispatch, 2 helicopters converged on the area, armed with snipers, ready to take out the suspect if needed, while the FBI used his cell phone data to track him, and the sheriff ordered residents to shelter in place. They eventually found the suspect dead in the mountains, his firearm beside him. It is unknown how he died, and authorities have not yet revealed the motive. I need to know a motive for this story. I mean, why target firefighters?
Yeah, I feel like there has to... I mean, I saw a tweet from Luke Kukowski saying, was this dude on SSRIs? Have you seen pictures of him yet?
Of what?
Have you seen pictures of the shooter?
No, I'm sure I'll see them in the suspect being identified story. Yeah, that's the next one.
I'm already seeing all of the everyone blowing up on X on saying that, oh, he's your team or he's your team, because
Who gives a this doesn't seem political. This literally just seems like he's just targeting emergency services.
right. But of course, some prominent leftist had posted, oh, this is his parents, and it's two people in front of the White House rocking some MAGA hats or whatever. And so they're already trying to imply that this is some Republican trying to murder people because the right is violent. And I'm not sure if people, that's something I was kind of thinking about it, and this is a little bit off topic, but whenever a situation like this happens where there's some deranged shooter or something like that, I'm wondering if people are trying to say, oh, this person's Republican or this person's Democrat because they're trying to say, hey, they're not on my team because my team wouldn't do that, or if they're trying to say, hey, this person's on your team because your team is evil.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because who cares what team he subscribed to? Evil's evil. And then I'm sorry to hear that, Tactical Tinkerer. He said, my cousin perished with the Granite Mountain crew. This current situation just makes me angry. I'm not familiar with the Granite Mountain crew.
It was probably those burnout situations that I was talking about where they get overrun. So respect to your cousin, Tinker.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. And then Shitty Gov said, and I completely agree, Shitty Gov, he said, I'd be keeping a couple rifles in the rig from now on. Yeah.
100%.
The people that were there that survived that, I guarantee you they'll be going to these situations like this strapped from now on. It is unfortunate, but I mean, they should be. They should honestly be strapped.
Yeah. And I know a lot of the local wildland firefighters, living in Oregon, in the middle of, in small town Oregon, we are surrounded by, I could drive for 5 minutes and be in the middle of the woods. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of area that these wildland firefighters protect. And I don't know. I don't want to see any copycat sort of behavior. And if I was a wildland firefighter, I would be terrified of that happening.
Well, and I mean, stories like this have happened before. And it says here, we do believe that the suspect did start the fire, and we do believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional. That's from the county sheriff, Bob Norris, as he said on a Sunday night news conference. These firefighters did not have a chance.
And so it was just like somewhere up in the woods.
It seems like a park. Like it looks like a little like wildlife park, maybe.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm
Cherry Hill Park.
I'm wondering what the terrain was, and was he like way up on a rock?
Cherry Hill Park, following reports of an ambush shooting at Canfield Mountain. So he was probably towards the top of the mountain shooting down on him.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy, man. So yeah, he intentionally set up an ambush. The wounded firefighter was fighting for his life after surgery and he's now in stable condition. So there was a firefighter in critical condition, but they're saying that he should be, he should live. Which is good, but there are 2 confirmed deaths, and both the deaths were firefighters. And like it said here, they didn't have a chance. They were ambushed.
Evil, man. Evil exists in this world.
When you have an environment where you don't know where the bullets are coming from because of the trees and the shrubbery and what have you, it is daunting for police officers, let alone firefighters. Outpouring of support was swift in Coeur d'Alene, a city of 55,000 with residents near the border with Washington. Hours after the ambush, people gathered along the Interstate 90 holding American flags to pay their respects as the 2 fallen firefighters' bodies were taken to the medical examiner's office in Spokane, Washington, about 35 miles. Man, that's really sad.
Yeah, I heard that they did a procession for the ones who died and were injured, and like remember when was it Chris Kyle died, that famous Afghanistan sniper, when he was killed?
I might have been too young for that.
Gotcha. He I don't know. They like drove his hearse down the freeway or whatever, and there were people all across bridges with American flags dropped down and stuff like that. So it's beautiful to see people come together to pay respects in a procession like this.
Yeah. But so here, let's go to the next story. So the shooter has been identified. Again, no motive is known at this time. I personally would love to know a motive. I would need to know a motive. I mean, what this just seems so senseless, but it also seems calculated. So it's like there has to be a reason. Because it's like senseless to the point where like why would you do it? But it's also calculated. Like he set up a fire, set up a position, had a gun ready. Like it's I don't know. It was planned out.
Yeah, I think the only way to like realize it is this person just wanted to murder people and came up with a plot to get easy targets. Like
Yeah, and he's like, here's how we'll make the news.
Yeah.
Suspected shooter in Idaho firefighter ambush has been identified. The police identified Wes Rowley as suspect in the calculated brush fire ambush. Says the alleged sniper who killed 2 firefighters and wounded a third in an ambush-style attack in Idaho has been identified as Wes Rowley. Talks about the Associated Press reporting that we just read. Let's see. So we actually have audio from, what is this? It says, responded to the blaze. An audio from the scene, a firefighter said there was an emergency situation, an active shooter at a fire. We actually have audio?
There was a lot of police scanner audio or like radio chatter.
Okay, let's see. Oh, it's 8 minutes long. Never mind. Do we have a picture of the shooter? No, it's fine. We don't need to show a picture of him. I don't want to make him. I don't want to give him too much attention.
Soft face.
Saying his name's enough attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this disgusting person, I'd love to know the motive. As of right now, we don't know the motive. We just know his name. We don't even know if law enforcement killed him. I hope he didn't take the coward's way out. I hope he was shot. I hope he was shot by law enforcement. Personally.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so difficult, but like, regardless, the world has one less evil motherfucker in it, and there's benefit to that.
I guess, yeah.
However, it happened,
I mean, we are a little bit over, but I do have one more story. What do you think? Should we go to this story?
Yeah, let's do it. Joey's still doing his hair and finding his glasses.
Is he? Oh, you're watching Joey?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying.
Just like talking shit about Joey over there. Hang on.
Dude, Joey's talking shit about me when I'm just like lurking in chat.
I know. Everyone targets you, man. I don't know why. Shh.
I dig it.
Everyone's after the TJ. You know what it is? They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us. It just reminds me that I'm living rent free in their heads.
There you go. Sinaloa. So this is the story I wanted to bring up last because I love me some cartel stories. Sinaloa cartel hacker turned Mexico City cameras against the FBI, leading to killings, DOJ says.
Whoa.
So this was on Friday. So this was during all the Supreme Court stuff that was going on. A hacker obtained federal agents' phone records and accessed Mexico City surveillance system. That's what a Justice Department report states. A hacker working with the Sinaloa Mexico cartel was able to obtain an FBI official's phone record information in 2018 and used a Mexico City surveillance camera system to track and kill informants and witnesses. Wow. The Justice Department said in a report, the 2018 incident disclosed in the Justice Department's Inspector General's audit of the FBI's efforts to mitigate the effects of ubiquitous technical surveillance. The report said the FBI was working on the case of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the former leader of the infamous cartel who was extradited to the United States in 2017, when someone tipped the FBI that the drug trafficking organization hired a hacker who offered a menu of services related to exploiting mobile phones and other electronic services. The hacker was able to identify an FBI assistant, legal attaché. Wait, what the fuck? Attaché? However you say that. ALAT at the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City and was able to use the attaché's phone number to obtain calls made and received as well as geolocation data. Wow. So this hacker hired by the cartel was using an FBI's phone to get access to informants.
Is that who the picture is of?
Yeah,
okay.
And this
very familiar, but
this is El Chapo.
That's what I thought. I just didn't.
Yeah, that's a picture of El Chapo.
Okay, thank you.
But so this is a guy that was working for his part of the cartel,
right? And so I'll say the city, Mexico City, should have had a better cybersecurity program, and you know, how I'm wondering how the hacker was able to hack the phone. Like, I don't know. That's incredibly involved. That is some Mission Impossible level shit. And
Well, it says that he somehow obtained the phone number and used the phone number to obtain calls. So using his phone number, how can someone use my phone number to obtain my calls?
well, like they could potentially have your phone number and your name and get a hold of AT&T and social,
And then have like a secondary phone
well,
or secondary. Okay,
I don't know.
I see
Like,
what you mean.
yeah, like you can maybe get a password reset by social engineering customer support for AT&T or whatever, and then once, you know, I mean, do you know?
So
about,
it says the hacker and the victims were not identified, just that it had happened.
Oh wow.
So the report noted that the advances in technology have made it easier than ever for less sophisticated nations and criminal enterprises to identify and exploit vulnerabilities created by the UTS, a term used to describe widespread collection and storage of data and analysis, often from everyday technologies like smartphones, computers, and even vehicles. They storage OD data of data. I'm assuming they mean of data. That's a weird typo right at the last sentence, guys. I'm assuming that's a typo, but no, I just thought this was an interesting story. So this is from several. Actually, when I say several, guys, I do not mean 3. When I say several, I mean 7. This is from several years ago. So you know, it is an old story, but it just goes to show that the cartels who are on our border are not just some like backwards ass like fucking gang. They are sophisticated. They're militarized. They can hire people like this that can get into our FBI phone records. Like they are an actual threat. This is the point being. They are an actual threat. Let's stop focusing on all these fucking foreign wars across the ocean. Let's focus on the cartels that are right next to us.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But anyway, TJ, let's send everybody off to the Joey of the cannoli.
Cool.
What do you got for us today? I'll give you the floor. Here you go. We're on Rumble Studio today, so it looks like you get your banner. Bam.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a closing today. I guess I'll just say that there is evil in this world, and do your best to be a good person and prevent it where you can. And I don't know. I'll also say download that Ice Block app, and let's send out all the false positives. That's going to be a real fun internet collective initiative. So let's get on it.
Hell yeah.
Peace.
Well, thank you, TJ. As always, we'll see you tomorrow, right?
We should, unless you're going fishing. Yeah, we'll think about it.
I'll message you. Let's message me anyway, because we got to workshop that question.
Yeah, we will.
About Ice Block. But yeah, so do what TJ said. That's an excellent point by TJ. If you can, and as soon as I can, I will download Ice Block. Just start doing some fucking false reportings when you're out on the go. Just start doing false reportings. What are they going to do? It's anonymous. So start doing it. Screw it. If this guy wants to screw with law enforcement, let's screw with his app. But anyway, thank you, TJ. Peace out. I'm going to go ahead and do my outro.
See you, brother.
And then we'll send everybody over to Joey of the Cannolis. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, follow if you're not already, but I'm sure all you beautiful bastards are already following. So I'm going to go ahead and send you guys over to Joey of the Cannoli. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see all of you either tomorrow or Wednesday. I need to figure out if I'm going fishing tomorrow. I probably shouldn't because I should work, but follow me on Twitter. You'll find out there. All right. Bye, guys. Goodbye. Outro promo. Goodbye. I need to make a new one. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the video today. If you thought that was a great video, great live stream, great whatever you were watching, make sure you hit that like, thumbs up, whatever you're watching, hit that follow, subscribe, and if you really want to support me, you could always share the video and comment down below. But thank you guys so much. Make sure you follow on Rumble, YouTube, and X. Thank you, and peace out.